The chilling murder of Emma Holt. The teacher everyone loved. In the quiet town of Greenvale, Michigan, where the loudest sound most nights was the hum of crickets and the occasional train in the distance, people still talk about the night everything changed. They remember Emma Holt, the 26-year-old art teacher who everyone loved, who never missed church on Sundays, who left cookies for her mail carrier at Christmas. She was the last person anyone would expect to become the center of a true crime story that would haunt the Midwest. It happened in September of 2016, a Sunday evening that began like any other. The sun had just slipped behind the trees, and neighbors were settling into the rhythm of the week ahead. Paula Jennings, who lived next door to Emma, noticed something strange. Emma's porch light, the one that flicked on every night like clockwork at 7, stayed off. Paula thought maybe the bulb had burned out, but when she saw it was still dark by 9, she felt uneasy. The next morning, Emma didn't show up to teach. That was the moment everything started to unravel. When officers arrived, they found the front door locked from the inside. Nothing appeared broken, nothing stolen. The house was spotless, so clean it looked staged. And there, near the kitchen counter, was Emma. She was still wearing her sweater from earlier that day. Her phone was in her hand, her teacup still half full on the counter. The medical examiner later confirmed what the scene already told them. One stab wound. Clean, deliberate, and fatal. Detective Luis Ramirez, a veteran officer used to bar fights and stolen cars, had never seen anything like it in Greenvale. It was the kind of case that didn't happen in small-town America, the kind that people only saw in documentaries or true crime YouTube videos. He knew right away that this wasn't random. Someone knew Emma, knew her well enough to walk right into her house without breaking a thing. The first person on his list was Michael Thorne, the school's maintenance worker. He was in his 40s, divorced, and had only been in town for a few months. He told police that he'd stopped by Emma's house around 6:30 that night to return some art supplies. He said they talked for a bit, maybe 20 minutes, and then he left. His alibi was solid. His brother confirmed he visited later that night. For a while, it seemed like the trail ended there. Then, 2 days after Emma's body was found, her sister received an email. It came from Emma's own account. The message said, "Don't worry about me. I just need some time away. I love you, but I can't stay here anymore." The timestamp on that email was 2:14 a.m., 36 hours after Emma had already been pronounced dead. Police traced the IP address to a coffee shop in Lansing, 20 miles away. The footage showed a figure in a hoodie sitting at a laptop, face hidden, impossible to identify. Whoever did this knew how to make it look like Emma had simply walked away from her life. But Ramirez knew better. Someone wanted to buy time. When investigators went through Emma's phone, they found a number she'd called several times in the weeks before she died. A man named Evan Carroll, a local real estate agent. Evan told detectives they'd been seeing each other privately. She didn't want people talking, he said. You know how small towns are. But when detectives showed him a text Emma had sent a week before her death, "You said you deleted them. Please tell me you meant it." Evan's face went pale. He admitted that they'd made private videos together. He swore he'd deleted everything. Still, his story checked out. His phone data placed him nowhere near Greenvale that night. Ramirez began to wonder if this was more than just jealousy or betrayal. Maybe Emma had been scared of someone else. Her best friend, Claire Porter, confirmed it. She said Emma had been nervous the week before she died. She thought someone was following her. She'd even mentioned a car parked outside her house for hours, a gray sedan with a plate number she could only partially remember, 3KX. Claire said Emma had started locking her doors twice, closing curtains even during the day. She said she felt watched, Claire told police. When detectives ran that partial plate, it matched Michael Thorne's car. When confronted, Michael insisted Emma had asked him to keep an eye on her place because she was scared. But his phone told another story. Investigators found anonymous text messages Emma had received from an unregistered number. The messages said things like, "You looked beautiful today," and "You don't need to be afraid of me." The texts were traced back to a prepaid phone bought in cash and linked to Michael Thorne. Police searched his property again. This time, they found a sealed plastic container hidden beneath the floor of his trailer. Inside was a paring knife wrapped in an old towel. The blade was spotless, but trace blood on the handle matched Emma Holt's DNA. Michael was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. In court, prosecutors said he'd become obsessed with Emma, convinced she was secretly interested in him. When she finally told him to leave her alone and threatened to go to the police, he snapped. He let himself into her house using a spare key from the school, confronted her in the kitchen, and stabbed her when she tried to call for help. Then, to make it look like she'd vanished, he used her laptop to send that chilling email. The jury took only 4 hours to find him guilty. The town of Greenvale breathed a collective sigh of relief. For a while, it felt like the nightmare was over. But 2 years later, during the process of digitizing evidence for the archives, investigators found something strange in the data behind that email. It hadn't just been sent from the coffee shop in Lansing. It had been routed through a VPN account registered to Evan Carroll, Emma's boyfriend. When detectives confronted Evan, he swore he was innocent. He said Michael must have used his laptop once when he came to fix an office door, that he must have hacked into his account. The theory couldn't be proven. By then, Michael Thorne was in prison. He refused to talk about Evan, and in 2021, he was found dead in his cell, an apparent suicide. On his bunk, they found a note that said, "I loved her. We weren't supposed to get caught." Detective Ramirez retired the following year, but in his last interview, he admitted something that never made it into the official reports. "We got our guy," he said, "but I don't think he was alone." Today, Emma Holt's house on Maple Street still stands. The garden is overgrown now, the paint faded, but neighbors say the porch light, Emma's porch light, still flickers on every night at 7, just like she used to do. Every September, the elementary school where she taught hosts an art show in her memory. Her students, now grown, paint flowers and sunsets, soft colors, peaceful things, the way Emma liked them. But for those who remember, her story isn't just a tragedy. It's a reminder that evil doesn't always look like a monster. Sometimes it looks like someone you see every day, someone who smiles, someone you trust. In the quiet corners of the internet, true crime fans still debate the case. Some believe Evan was involved, that Michael couldn't have done it all alone. Others think it was exactly what it appeared to be, a lonely man's obsession turned deadly. Whatever the truth is, one thing's certain: in the small town of Greenvale, the name Emma Holt will never be forgotten. Because as one of her diary entries said, the last words she ever wrote in that hidden blue notebook, "He's not alone.